Coming from CNBC, OpenAI loses revenue chief Denise Dresser, second major executive departure in days. So I kind of think this is an interesting story because we know that Sam Altman wants to IPO as quickly as possible, and we know that Sam Altman has said anything less than a $1 trillion IPO is a non-starter, which basically means OpenAI will fail if they don't get that $1 trillion IPO. The problem is that the chief financial officer, basically think about it like the chief accountant, has looked at their paperwork, looked at their numbers, and realized that if their current numbers are actually shown to the public, everybody's going to realize what a disaster OpenAI is, and so she is trying to push their IPO into 2027. And so you have this, conflict at OpenAI right now where the CEO wants to push the IPO as quickly as possible and the CFO is like, no, we don't want to do this. And so one of the interesting things that's going on right now is it appears that OpenAI is basically trying to clean up their books, right? So the idea is if they don't IPO for another 6 months to a year, let's say, they can go through and in that period of time, they can clean up their books in order to create a better narrative, in order to create a better story. Remember, investors, they really aren't, basically at the end of the day, they're investing in stories. That's where we talk about like the optics and that kind of thing. What do investors believe? As I just talked about, I did a video, Anthropic, the investors are trying to get a valuation for Anthropic for $2 trillion, possibly all the way up to $3 trillion. That has nothing to do with any kind of reality. That all is the story of artificial intelligence. And so that's the thing with OpenAI. And again, the thing to be concerned about with OpenAI is it sounds like when you listen to the arguments, that literally whatever their numbers are, whatever their paperwork looks like, is literally so bad that they can't clean it up easily enough, right? So anyways, they're got to try to clean it up over the next year or so, and that's where you look with OpenAI. They're trying to come out with physical products. They're coming out with a speaker or whatever else to prove that they can do physical product things. They're trying to reduce the price on their models so they can be more competitive with Anthropic. They're doing a lot of different things out there to basically seem like they are more competitive so that their story makes sense. And so what's interesting here with a revenue chief leaving the company is it does beg the question of, do they know something that we don't? So remember, when you're with a startup company, you're getting equity in the company, right? The way you get paid off at the end of the day is when the company does their exit, right? So either they IPO, go on the public market, or they get acquired. OpenAI is too big to be acquired. So if you have a chief, especially a chief of revenue, who's leaving now, right? So they should be 6 months to a year away from an IPO, so they should be relatively close to an IPO. Maybe they know something. Maybe the people responsible for bringing revenue into OpenAI understand what the numbers look like, and they just realize there is no way to square that circle or circle that square. I think that's kind of the interesting thing to be looking at this, especially with she was not there very long, 8 months with the company. OpenAI said Thursday that chief revenue officer, so this is the CRO, the chief revenue officer. So this would be like one of the most important positions right now for OpenAI, somebody to bring revenue in, right? The entire question right now with AI is, can it actually make any money? So if you have somebody that's focused on bringing in revenue, you would think to be the most important person in the company right now, and they're leaving. Her role, less than a year after she joined the AI Lab, a startling exit for a company that's gearing up for what's expected to be a blockbuster IPO. Well, it's expected to be an IPO. We'll see if it's a blockbuster. The company said Dresser is leaving, quote, to pursue other opportunities, according to a release. And that's an interesting thing to be thinking about with this too, is that, it's not to be with her family. It's not because she's sick or has cancer or something like that. It's to pursue other opportunities. Like OpenAI was the leader in AI, right? It was the front runner, right? Its IPO was just supposed to break everybody's brains. And so the chief revenue officer has been with OpenAI for less than a year. They should be within a year of IPOing. and she's leaving the company. As I've said many times before, don't listen to what people say. Look at what they actually do. And when your chief revenue officer leaves less than a year before your company is supposed to IPO, I think that basically says a book of information right there. Quote, the opportunity to work hands-on with the most transformative technology in the world has been nothing short of incredible, Dresser wrote in a post on LinkedIn. Quote, I am so proud of what we have accomplished and even more of how this team has shown up for our customers and one another. Dresser's departure marks the second senior exit at OpenAI in days. Longtime OpenAI executive Brad Lightcap announced his decision to leave the company on Tuesday, writing in a post on X that he is going to, quote, start something new. Again, think with these employees. You are less than a year from an IPO and you're going off to do other things. This should be like the most exciting period of time to work for any company. Lightcap had been at OpenAI for 8 years and was a longtime friend and colleague of the company's CEO, Sam Altman. Dresser, by contrast, was hired in December after she spent more than a decade as an executive at Salesforce. And so that's one of the other things to be looking at here, right? So these executives, a lot of these executives really aren't any better than normal fucking employees, right? They come and they go. They're looking for the next cool thing. They're looking for the next, bonus or whatever else. So sometimes, again, especially with a lot of these technology companies, you'll see these executives, these CXOs, they'll just bounce in and bounce out. They'll be here for a year, they'll be here for 6 months, they'll be there for 2 months. Like maybe they're there to solve a specific problem. A lot of time they're there because there's something in their resume that makes them look good. Oh, this was an executive at Google, right? Oh, this was an executive, at Salesforce or at Microsoft or whatever else. And so especially for a startup company, it sounds like you're bringing the adults in. Look, this person has spent like a year or two at Microsoft in a senior position. We're bringing them into the startup. Look, we're becoming a real technology company. Well, that executive, basically they just looked at the pay package. They're like, oh my God, look at how much money I'm getting. Sure, I'll come to this shitty ass little startup for, 6 months to a year to pretend like they're being adults, take the money and run. And so they bounce around, again, just like a lot of young employees do. What's interesting though about Dresser is that she spent a decade at Salesforce. This does not sound like a woman who's bouncing the fuck around. Does not sound like a woman who's just chasing the next shiny dollar bill, right? This sounds like a person who normally comes to a company and works at their company. Again, a decade goes by until their time the company is over and they go on to the next thing. So to look at her being at Salesforce for 10 years, and then she's at OpenAI for like 8 months, again, doesn't look good. I just gotta say, right? Oh, let's see here. So that's basically what's going on with OpenAI right now, and we'll see what happens with OpenAI's IPO going into the future. I don't think it looks good, right? We have SpaceX. SpaceX is now worth like $2 trillion. Whatever, SpaceX is SpaceX. We now have Anthropic, so Anthropic is probably going to be IPOing in October. Lordy, they're trying to IPO at like $2 trillion now. There's arguments that they should be worth $3 trillion. I really have to just ask the question, no matter how you feel about AI, not even how you feel about OpenAI. You may fucking love OpenAI, right? I don't know, maybe you have pictures of Sam Altman on your walls or whatever else. But again, after SpaceX is IPO'd and after Anthropic is IPO'd for such huge amounts of money, there really is the question, is there enough oxygen in the capital markets to actually be able to fund another $1 trillion plus IPO? Right, because the thing too is like with SpaceX, so SpaceX is so fucking weird. So SpaceX, right, they IPO'd for $1.77 trillion, but only 5% of their stock was actually on the market. So their valuation was based off a very small actual amount of stock. But the thing is there's unlocks that have been happening. So first it was like 5% of the stock was on the market. Now I do believe it's 15 plus percent of the stock is on the market relatively soon. It'll be 20%. I do believe like by the end of the year, it gets up to like 40, 50%. So that's the thing too, is like with SpaceX, there's going to become more and more supply of the stock at whatever valuation. And you're going to have Anthropic. They're going to do an IPO. Most likely, they're going to do a bit more normal of an IPO. It's probably, who knows, not going to be the same financial machinations that SpaceX has done. So they're going to put a lot of stock on the market. Not only that, though, but you have all of these other big tech companies that are literally putting stock on the market, right? I think Google put like $85 billion, right? They released $85 billion to sell for their AI build out. Meta, at least was going to. I think they did. They sold a lot of stock for the AI build out. And so that one of the things too, again, if you look at the, capitalism, one part of capitalism, supply and demand. So not only is there demand for AI equity, right? But then the amount of AI equity that is coming on the market is just a lot. It's a lot. So when OpenAI IPOs, regardless of how good the product is, again, even if you think it's a good product, regardless of where they sit in the market, even if you think they actually sit in a good place in the market, which I don't, there is just that question of just how much pent-up demand is there going to be for OpenAI by next year? That is a question. And again, when you have executives leaving, like I say, when you have the chief revenue officer leaving for OpenAI 8 months after she was hired, that just does not look good. I don't. Again, say she has, like, that's a weird thing. Like these people lie in the weirdest ways. Like, this is the time to lie. This is the time to lie. This is the time to say she got a concerning diagnosis from her doctor and she wants to spend more time with her family. Right? Because here's the thing. Again, my wife's had 3 cancers. Holy shit. You know how many times we've gotten concerning diagnoses? I have thought my wife was going to die like a dozen times at this point. Oh my gosh, she will come back from the doctor and you're like, what the anyways, right? That's the thing. Like a concerning diagnosis. Sometimes you get concerning diagnoses and then this shit disappears. I shit you not. Oh, my wife came home, like she had like an MRI or whatever, and they found like this mass. They found like this mass. The mass was between her spine and her heart, and it was like this mass, right? Basically inoperable. You are just fucked. You were just fucked, right? Anyways, she went to the doctor. They found this mass, and they're like, oh my golly. And so, okay, we're gonna have to do more extensive scans. And then like 2 weeks later, they went back to do more extensive scans, and it was gone. Fucking gone, right? We go from like, well, my wife is dead to, well, never mind. Like, that's right. Well, welcome to the modern healthcare system. If you wonder why people are going nuts with the modern healthcare system, that's one of the reasons, right? Anyways, that's what they could do. They could say she had a concerning health diagnosis and realized how important her family is. She already spent 10 years at Salesforce, so she's probably got a shit ton of money already. Hey, look, because she's going off to be with her family, we're going to be nice and we're going to vest her equity or whatever else. And look, see, it's sad for her, but it doesn't actually mean anything for the company, right? That is a way to lie. That is a way to lie. That's a way to have optics. With this, no, she's just leaving to do other things right before the IPO. Okay, I don't. Lordy. Anyways, so what do you think about this with OpenAI? What do you think about their chief revenue officer leaving 8 months after getting hired? Less than a year before they're supposed to IPO. Do you think her actions speak far louder than any of Sam Altman's manipulations? What do you think is going to happen with OpenAI? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is down below. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.